Okay, same worksheet, second side. This is the one you guys did in class. Some of you did really, really well. Some of you seem to be a little bit frustrated, so we're just going to go through it. The first one's just asking what is equivalent to 72 hundredths. So the easiest thing to do is get your answer choices where you can transfer them to a decimal and then see which one is the same. Again, we've got 25. 25 is not a place value in our decimals. So we need to multiply by 4 because we need to get to a 100. Well, that gave us an improper fraction. That's not going to be our answer. Again, we have 25, so let's multiply it by 4, and I get 76 hundredths. So if I'm going to transfer that to or convert that to a decimal, it's going to look like that. Those two do not look the same. So the next one, 18/25, I know now that I can multiply by 4, and I'm going to get 72 hundredths, which when I convert that to a decimal looks like that. Those two match, so that's a possibility. And then 72 over 10, well, without doing anything, I can already see that's improper. So that one's out. So my best answer for this one is C. All I have to do is convert them to check. Okay, what about number 2? We're looking for a decimal that's equivalent to 21/25. Okay, well now this time I need to work with my fraction in my question because my answer choices are all decimals. So they're already in decimal form, but the fraction in my question is not. So if I have 21/25, I do not have a place value called 25ths. So I need to get to 10, 100, or 1,000. The easiest way to do that is 100. I know 4 quarters makes $1, remember that. So that converts into 84 hundredths, which if we were changing it to a decimal, would be decimal 84. This is 85 hundredths, that's not going to work. 84 hundredths. That looks pretty similar, maybe. This is 825 thousandths, that's not going to work. And this one's 8/10, not going to work. So your best answer is G. Okay, this was the bonus question because I wanted you to use the skills of dividing up that we had talked about. We have 36 students, 9 students walk to school. We're looking for a decimal that represents the fraction that does not walk to school. Okay, so the first step, this is kind of a two-part thing. We've got our part not walking over total. Well, what's the part not walking? Well, we first have to say, okay, if I have 36 total students, 9 are walking, then I have 27 who are not walking. So 27 over my total of 36. Okay, so when I say that I'm going to divide up, that's going to look like this. 36, you guys can't see that. Here we go. 36, you cannot divide that into 27. However, I'm going to put a 0, and I'm going to put a decimal because I'm going to expand out my number so that I can break it up. And after I've done some calculations, you may not know right off the bat that 7 times 36 gets me closest. But I may have to do some calculations. But I find that 7 times 36 is 352. I subtract, I get 18. I want to expand that out more, so I'm going to add another 0. And then I find that 5 times 36 is 180, and I'm left with 0. Which means my answer is decimal 75. And some of you earned 5 points bonus on getting that one correct. Okay, this was a struggle because we did not read above the table, some of you. Some of you did and still were confused, but some of you didn't read this and went, oh, that's important. Yes, that's important. Anytime there's any words above our table, we need to read it because it's telling us what our table shows. It's talking about the protein, fat, and carbohydrates in a serving. The serving size of each meal is 200 grams. That's our total. That's why that's so important. Because then our question is looking for the protein in ravioli. Protein in ravioli. Well, remember when we're doing fractions, we're looking for part, and in this case, it's part protein over total. Well, our part protein in ravioli is 24. Well, where'd our total come from? 200 grams is our total. So now all I have to do is to reduce. So if you don't know your greatest common factor, what I was talking about in the other video is to do prime factorization. If I did prime factorization for 24, I'd have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 6 times 2, yeah, that's right. Okay, 200 is going to be 2 times 5 times 2 times 5 times 2. 25 times 2, yeah. Okay. So then when we cross out numbers in common, we see what we're left with. So all I'm left with here is a 3. Then I've got a 5 and a 5, so I multiply. What is 5 times 5? 25. And that means that 24 200ths reduced is 3 25ths. I could have also found that by just finding my GCF and dividing. Either way would have worked. Okay, number 5. They're asking us what the decimal is that represents the fat in the macaroni and cheese. Okay, same idea, but this time they're looking for fat macaroni and cheese, or fat in the macaroni and cheese. So we're looking for part fat over total. Well, the fat from the macaroni and cheese is 26, the total is 200. Well, I need to get this, I either need to go up to 1,000 or down to 100, and these are in the hundreds. So it's pretty easy to go down to 100. Because I'm at 200, I just divide it by 2, divide it by 2, 13 hundredths. Now that it's called hundredths, I can easily transfer that into a decimal, and I'm done.